indeed recording this session. They get uploaded to a YouTube channel that I manage, which is what we'll use as a part of the example for this 2-day session. And what we are going to go over is a real fundamental look at YouTube and a 100 level on setting up your channel for productive means as a larger part of your greater marketing plan. With that being said, I'm just going to go through a few housekeeping tips. I actually was supposed to be sharing my screen there, but I don't think you guys can see it. I think only I can. Let me share my screen. There we go. Cool. So, a few housekeeping tips. I am going to ask that everybody remain muted through the entirety of the session. If you would like to ask a question and you think you might forget, please note it in the chat window. I will check all of the messages there at the end, as well as open up the floor for additional questions. For time purposes, I don't really take questions through the class. That way we can get through it and get you guys out of here inside of the half hour. What else? I think that's about it. I will be sending a recap at the end of the session, which will have a link to this recorded session. The goal, of course, with part 1 is just to get the channel set up, get the appropriate information, and get all of the back-end stuff organized before part 2, where we focus on the YouTube studio itself, where we will upload a video and manage some of the settings therein. For anybody that does not know me, my name is Anuj. I am the field marketing specialist here in Monterey and Santa Cruz County. And let's go ahead and get started. Before we roll in very deep, I just want to show some brief YouTube stats for 2020 that I think everybody should very much keep top of mind as to when it comes to why this should be something that you think about integrating into your marketing plan. And I say it that way because that's how you should very much be thinking about tools like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and your website. You know, they're all part of a larger web, for a lack of better word, that connects your sphere to your business in whatever way is easiest for them to manage. Now, obviously, we have some stats to look at that help us decide where those places are. For example, if you have any commercial aspiration, we know that you need to be on Facebook and Instagram, especially over the last few months in the COVID era. There have been large spikes in the users on these websites. YouTube specifically has seen 2 billion with a B logged in monthly users. That's 2 billion individual people using the platform at least one point during the month. Now, for some context, 2 years ago, they were at 1.8 billion. So they're growing at a staggering number of users per year, and that's only trending upward. In regards to how YouTube is used and why it's an important part of your larger marketing plan is consistency. 70% of everybody that does use YouTube, so 70% of 2 billion people, will watch videos recommended by the YouTube algorithm. So making sure you have a conscious understanding of how that works and how you can best feed that to game it for your purposes is the same kind of stuff we talk about when we have things like social ad engine and HomeSpotter in regards to placing ads on Facebook. That's how you could best leverage those platforms. There are ways in how consistently you post and how topical certain things are, and the way you structure this as a part of your plan to drive people back to your website. There's you know, a structure to that we want you to be conscious of that we'll kind of dive into today. Now, obviously, that will vary agent to agent, region to region, but the grander idea is the same. These are tools that are built to drive traffic back to your website, which is the hub of your business, because everything about what you do in the communities you service, and everything about the market is located there. All of these other channels are focusing people back that way. And this is just a really cool graph I wanted to throw up from the Pew Research Center. This was done pre-COVID, so what it lets you know is that there's a strong inkling of which of these platforms have grown during that during this time, because platforms that were obviously popular beforehand have shot up in the social media space, because YouTube is still considered a social platform at its corest function. Now, obviously, something like TikTok has become a performer in this space too. They're floating somewhere right around here in between Twitter and WhatsApp at the moment. Growing, but the commercial value there is still here or there. However, if it is something you're interested in, by all means, something you should look into. Only do these things, though, if you know you have the time to make them a part of your invested marketing strategy. Again, we talk about things like YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram because of the percent of adults who say they're following online platforms or using one of these apps on their cell phone. Almost 3 out of 4 use YouTube. Almost 3 out of 4 also use Facebook, and about half are on Instagram if you account for the spikes and changes based on Facebook's quarterly reports from the end of last. Instagram at the beginning, or I should say the end of 2019, saw a huge spike in the 50+ crowd as more and more users kind of drifted away from Facebook and became more in line with Instagram's platform. Now, all of that statistics stuff aside, let's go ahead and talk about YouTube as a platform itself. I am going to go ahead and pop that up. And briefly, let's just look at the platform. You've got your, from a user standpoint, you've got the algorithmic platform that will drive videos based on what you have watched using cookies. Now, when you have an account with YouTube, it will do a lot better of tracking that kind of stuff and showing you more videos that it recommends. Again, we're talking about that 70% user algorithm that we were mentioning earlier. But this is where that kind of comes into effect. If you're watching lots of real estate videos will show up. People that are watching sports videos will get more sports videos, etc. You've got home, which is your homepage, trending, which will show you videos that are trending on YouTube currently, and subscriptions, channels that you will subscribe to. Google owns YouTube, so anybody with a Gmail account has a YouTube account and a channel that they can run from it. I'm going to click sign in because there are 2 different types of Google accounts. I'm going to click use another account so we can talk about what they are. So if we hit create an account, you will see you can create a personal account, which is what my 2 channels are. And you can have an account to manage your business, which is what you guys would want to make. Now, if you already, let me start by saying, the business account is what we call a Google brand account. Now, all the brand account does is give you admin management over the YouTube channel, meaning you can control things like the name of the channel. You can control who has access to the channel. So it doesn't have to be just accessed by your Gmail and password. You can delegate that access to additional users if you have a marketing person that you work with, if you have other team members that you work with, etc. You can also consolidate and manage multiple channels under one brand account. And to give you an idea of a little bit of what that would look like, you've got a brand account right here, and I will include all of this in the recap, and you'll be able to see multiple pages that you manage, as well as being able to create a branded page. So if you have a charity, for example, it doesn't have to just be the name of your account. To kind of give you an idea what that means is my channel, by comparison, isn't a branded account. So the channel I upload everything to is called my name, Anuj Chaudhary. If I wanted to change the name of that account to be Santa Cruz and Monterey County FMS classes. It's a mouthful, but let's say that's what I wanted. I would need to create a branded Google account and then transfer management of my current channel to that Google account. And I know that sounds like a lot. We'll kind of go over where and why that happens, or where and how that happens in just a bit. But all I wanted to drive home is that your business account should be managed under a Google brand account. But if you already have a YouTube page that isn't, that is okay. You can still create a brand account and transfer the management of that channel to that brand account. So you can then change the name and things like that. What you cannot do is merge two channels. Unfortunately, the YouTube platform doesn't allow two existing channels to be able to be merged. So you would, if you have, unfortunately, if you have, two spaces where you've been uploading stuff, and one of them, you abandoned and you created a new one, and that's kind of got your modern content, but you don't want to lose views on those videos from 5 or so years ago, there is no way to bring those numbers into one channel. You would have to re-upload stuff to the main channel that you are operating. But you can manage multiple channels. Again, if you have a team, if you have, if you want to just be able to control the name of the account and things like that, that's what you will do here. All you do is create first, last name, create the Gmail account for that brand account, which does not have to be public facing. So it could be, whatever you would like it to be, anoojrealty@gmail.com in my example. You create a password, you confirm, and then you will create your business account. You'll add in the address, the hours. It's a lot like setting up a Facebook business page in regards to the profile side. I'm not going to dive too much into the specifics there because it's 2020 and all of you guys are on Facebook or some kind of platform. So filling out that kind of information is fairly simple. I'm going to sign into my account and let's talk about the YouTube channel itself. All right, I am signed in. And again, you can see, I've got my subscription showing up, my library. It's all kind of now being switched over towards what I'm looking at. And you'll know you're signed in because when you click on the little icon that's got your face on it, you will see your entire menu. Now I'm going to click Manage Google Account because this is where everything lives in regards to that profile that I was talking about that you'll set up after you activate a brand account. If you have a personal account, you've still got all the same things in here. The only difference is it doesn't ask me any questions about my business because I'm not a business account. But I digress. Let's talk about the channel. Your channel, when you click on this button, your channel, will take you to the consumer view of your page. The only difference between what I see and what a consumer sees, like if any of you guys were to access my channel, is these two buttons aren't here. They don't see Customize Channel or YouTube Studio, but they will see everything else. And let's break down what we're looking at. First things first, banner image. Your channel art is your branding. There should be a level of consistency here that is matched on your Facebook accounts, your LinkedIn accounts, your Instagram account, wherever you can have a banner. This is where you want to take advantage of personal branding, where you can leverage the visual representation of what your brand is. So it's instantly recognizable and you've got your headshot located. Now, in regards to this specific image, it actually shows up in 3 different sizes. So when I click on the image, you will see a standard uploader where you can drag a photo or choose one from your computer like you would any uploader system. I've got the photo I've already got in here, so I'm going to go ahead and check it. Now, sidebar. Just like I've been harping on personal branding, if you are just using an image, like I am, of Bixby Bridge, make sure it is an image you took or you have the copyright ownership of. In this case, this is an image I took. Therefore, I don't have to worry about any upset copyright owner coming after my business and demanding either a payment or removal of their copyrighted image. going back in, I will click my image that I want to add. And as you can see here, I can zoom in a little bit, you've got 3 different sizes that the image will show up in. And why I mention this is because it is important to then make sure that when you are uploading this image, your branding is square and center. Because as you could see, and this again will all be included in the recap, so don't worry. As you can see, the image gets cropped for its desktop view, like we're looking at now. It is available in its full-fledged form if someone's using YouTube on their television, and it is an even more condensed photo when someone's looking at it on mobile. Now here, based on Google's user data, is where most people and most consumers, again, 3 out of every 4 of YouTube's consumers per month, is accessing it predominantly on the YouTube mobile platform. So you want to make sure that your image looks best there, but it is also a high enough resolution that it doesn't look ugly on the TV. Once it's all set, you will see it show up here. Links, again, being able to guide your consumers back to your main channels. Just like on your website, these should only link to things that you actively manage. If you don't update it, don't have it there, because there is nothing worse for your platform than a consumer being able to get to a channel that hasn't been updated in weeks. Next thing that your consumer will see, you can have a featured video. Now, a lot of this you'll see as we kind of go into editing the About section, which I'm going to get into, or editing the layout of the channel, which I'm going to get to in just a moment as we kind of wrap up part 1. But what you really want to think about in this space is 2 things. Who is my consumer, and how can I lay everything out easiest for them? The answers to those questions for me are real estate agents from Coldwell Banker, and I need to make sure my classes are easy to find. So you've got here, which is, I believe, the most recent major class I taught, which was In Touch 103. I will update that, though, when we edit to show you my saving listing concierge assets from last week, sorry. And we will replace that there. But again, you can have a featured video. I've got my uploads, and then a playlist that consolidates all of my classes and doesn't include my little updates that get sent to my agents on Mondays and Fridays. There isn't a lot in the grand scheme you can do in regards to adjusting the overall layout. You can, add sections from predetermined choices that you guys will see in a bit, and then you can make them display horizontally, like so, or vertically, like my Coldwell Banker class playlist. But again, this isn't a place to be too elaborate or too crazy. Again, ease for your consumer should be the primary function. Obviously, home is the main landing platform. Videos will take consumers to all of your public videos. Now, we'll go over private and unlisted videos in part 2, but any video that is not marked public will not be visible here. Playlists, again, public playlists that you make visible to your consumers will be shown here. Channels that you are featuring will show up here. Discussions, this is where you get to a little bit more of the social network aspect of it here. You can always remind consumers on all of your platforms about what you're doing. Quick example, let's say I'm doing a Facebook Live event for a tour of my new listing in a week from Thursday. So I make the Facebook Live event, announce it to all of my consumers on Facebook. I put together a little video of me talking about it and setting it up and reminding people where it is and how they can get to it. And I use that video, send it out in an e-blast to make sure my sphere knows about it. I also make a post on Instagram to make sure the followers there know about it. Do it on LinkedIn, and you can also make a post here. And in all of those posts, make sure you include the link to that live event to drive people right back to it. So you can use this space as a platform to continually advertise things like new videos that are coming up, or events that you're holding, or just things that you want to share like you would on any other of your social platforms to keep your consumer informed, just in case they follow you here and they aren't on your mailing list on your website, so you're not sure if they're getting everything. And of course, the About section. This is where we will start our editing from. The About is very straightforward. Description, which should be your bio, links to hover to all of the pages that you manage, and some stats and some business contact. And as you can see, the contact information showing is the one I want and not the Google account that manages this channel. So we'll quickly go in. When you hit Customize Channel, that's how you will edit this space. YouTube Studio is what we're going over in part 2. But all of the editing in this stuff is super simple. You'll hover over the section that you want to edit. You'll see it turn gray, hit a pencil, and then just paste your bio that you already have in here. Quick little plug for something like Design Concierge. They write great bios for our teams, and they write them in a way that is very conscious about where these bios are going to be. Remember, your bio is something that is almost never printed and is something that someone is almost exclusively reading online. So it needs to play by online rules. Our team writes bios in a very specific way to be conscious of things like web crawlers. Your bio should be consistently placed in every spot you can have a profile, so that way when someone is searching for real estate agents in the county, those sort of keywords that can be crawled by a web crawler and searched when someone is typing those kind of things into Google will then find those things across multiple platforms and help elevate you in your SEO rank for Google or any other search engine in general. Google is just the biggest player and they have the best algorithm for this. For those that might be a little confused, SEO, search engine optimization. Some of my colleagues teach some really good classes about that. I would recommend you dive into that and get a little bit of a heads up on how you can better yourselves in that space. It all has to do with organic rankings on search engines. Coldwell Banker does a lot to boost your guys' name, but these things are where you can really set yourself apart and drive more traffic to your own channels, is by consistency and having those keywords in the appropriate places, like a bio. In this case, a bio appearing on a platform owned by Google, who manages the very largest search engine in the globe. Again, once you're done, you hit done and it saves. Business inquiries. Put in whatever email you want your business inquiries to go to, hit done. Links, just like the InTouch website, you can feature these and they will pop up right here. The words that you put into the left will be whatever shows up when you hover over it. So LinkedIn, website, Instagram. You can feature up to 5 custom links on the channel art, but you can add as many links as you would like into the back end of the page, and they'll show up here. Important note about that, like I said, only add links that you actively update. And as we filter back, you can edit your discussion posts. You can edit and manage your playlists. You can manage your video list. And as you can see, things that are unlisted will appear so, and those won't show up for consumers on my channel. And home. This is where we're going to wrap up today's class. As you can see, my featured video. I've got 2 options. You've got videos you can feature for new visitors. This is a great spot to talk about a about me video that is something that is constant across all of your platforms to let everybody know what is your brand, what you represent, and where do you operate and why you love it so much. Talk to your FMS, talk to your SSA. There's lots of great ways to leverage who you are as an individual to make sure you really catch the attention of your consumer and their base, to remind them that you're not here to just talk school zones and square footage, but you have an active, vested interest in the communities you work in, and you're here to make your consumers' lives better, and whatever your pitch is beyond that. You guys are the real estate agents, so I'll let you come up with the extras there. And then you've got for returning subscribers, which would be my agents that are subscribed to my channel. I can hit edit just like you can for the new visitor side, and you can choose what video you would like. And you have 2 options. You can either pick a video, or you can paste a URL. You can add a heading, and hit save. I hit done, and just like that, you've updated the latest class. And as you can see here, you've got uploads, my created playlist. If I wanted to add a new section, you can choose from any of these pre-selected sections like uploads, which I can't because that's already there, but like any live videos you've got, upcoming live streams, playlists, subscriptions. There's a few options you can choose. And again, you got horizontal or vertical. But like I said, there isn't too much you're going to be doing to gussy up the page. It's more about how can I make this easy for people that are accessing this. Maybe I put my created playlist above, move my uploads down. So again, Coldwell Banker classes are featured right away. And there's no save thing on this side. Once you're done, all you have to do, everything kind of saves as it goes. So if I move to a different section, I will see immediately everything is just like I had updated. And that's where we'll cut it for today. I think I am right at time. That's part one. We're going to get into the active YouTube settings and the YouTube studio, which is the back-end management that we're going to look at right here in part two. Now, between part one and part two, I add that little gap. If you guys want to set up your YouTube channel and get some of those nuts and bolts going, feel free to send those to your FMS, your SSA, or to myself. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me or any as well. Thank you for attending my work. I just want to take a quick moment to note in the recap, just like the rest of my colleagues' classes, I have a link to a survey. It's really brief. It's important, I should say, for my managers to get feedback about how you guys think I am doing in the field. If you would like to say anything, I would appreciate any kind of feedback. Helps me be a better instructor to you guys. And, or even if you just want to say thanks or stuff like that, kind words are always nice to hear, whatever the case may be. If you have any additional questions, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to see YouTube channels as they get set up. So please feel free to send those my way as well, or reach out to your FMS or your SSA. I am going to stop the screen share and stop rambling and go ahead and check the chat for any questions. Feel free to unmute yourself as well if you would like to at this point and ask any questions you would like. Do the channels we subscribe to show up on our brand account? They will. So that's a good question. In regards to something like that, let me go ahead and share my screen again. Sharing my screen. Okay. In regards to channels you're subscribed to on your brand account, this featured channel section is an option on both, but you can choose when customizing the channel to remove it entirely if you don't want the module there. But subscriptions that you have will only be visible to you right here. If you wanted to feature anything, I just put this here as a way because if you wanted to edit the module and add one, I have it there just because it's part of what I do usually in part one, but I glanced across it today. But yes, if you it will show up on the brand account also, and you do have the option to remove the module if you would like to remove it. You're welcome to those saying thank you. Are there any other questions? Feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourselves and ask away.
Anuj?
Yes.
William Smith here. You've given us so much, and I know that I'm going to play with it, but I do have a old channel that was a personal channel, and I have a brand account, and I'm figuring out how to work them. But if
we talked a little bit about this before, so you and I will probably have to set some time together so I can have you share your screen and I can kind of look at the back end with you and we can figure out what's going to be the best move for you to make.
All right. If we do, let's say you have a Cobo Banker YouTube that we really like, and we want to put it in our brand account, do we have to download it to our computer and upload it, or can we just transfer it through YouTube?
If you want to have it on that different channel, yes, you'll have to download it and upload it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for a great class.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Part 2 is Thursday, I believe. Let me just double check, because I also thought my class started at 11 today instead of 11:30. It is correct. It is Thursday, 10:30 to 11 a.m. It is also available in Sales Pro. And like I said, part 2 will be focused on the YouTube studio, the back end settings, as well as the editor available in YouTube. And we'll cover things like annotations and being able to link to other videos at the end of your, whatever your video you're uploading is. So we'll talk a little bit about that strategy in there too. I will give a couple of, let's say a couple of minutes just to see if there's any other questions, because I did run a little long. Yes, you can upload directly from mobile devices to the YouTube app. I don't cover that in this class, but it is a fairly simple process once the channel is already set up. In regards to YouTube videos, to other videos, do you mean the recommended videos that pop up at the end of one, or are you talking about that bar along the right-hand side? Because actually in either case, the videos, so that is purely based on the user. So everybody's bar on their right-hand side is going to vary based on how they use the platform. There's very little control we have over that outside of, if you've got a fair amount of regularly uploaded content happening, like you can get a video up every couple of weeks, there is a good chance that you can affect the algorithm to then push your videos after or in conjunction to, meaning like after as one of the ones that pops up on the video screen itself, or in conjunction, meaning the ones along the bar on the right-hand side. That's how you can affect that in regards to gaming the algorithm. But there's very little you have control over because it's such a user-based platform. I hope that answers your question, Kathy, sorry. It's really small in the chat window. I see some more typing, so I'm just going to go ahead and wait just in case there's another question. Okay, I think we're set. I don't see any other questions. Nobody else is unmuting. I will go ahead. I'm going to stop the recording and I will prep my